afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Political No Brainer, where friends, family, and candidates get together to talk about news, politics, current events, conspiracy theories, and much, much more. We are excited. I am excited. I'm Coach Trippy. I'm excited to welcome my guest today, Banks Helfrich, who is running for Florida's House, Vern Paulson, who is a concerned and I would say political activist. I call myself a social entrepreneur, not necessarily a political activist, but welcome everybody. Hey, Banks, take
Welcome,
over.
welcome.
Take over. Tell us about your candidacy. Tell us about today, what you were, the event you're at. I want to hear all about it.
So you're a social entrepreneur?
That's what I consider myself
Right.
now.
So what exactly is a social
I'm
entrepreneur?
looking to do good. I'm looking to create, my political view is we're getting past the point of bipartisan politics. I'm big on education. I'm very specific on education. We talked recently about about me in particular running for office. I had mentioned to you my concern was when Obama was president, even though he was such a popular and effective president, we lost 1,000 seats across the country on local government. I want to get back to that. I want to get Democrats back in positions of school boards, back in positions of water districts. Like we work together in the Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District. I want to get Democrats back involved. I want to really rebuild the Democratic Party, and that doesn't mean I want to be a candidate. It means I want to get involved in everything good, really, just everything good. Like Remember we talked to, I think it was Kevin, the man we met right in front of the Mexican restaurant in downtown Claremont, with New Beginnings, and he's helping homeless people get readjusted. I want to get involved in all of that because we do a lot of good.
Right. So
So,
Vernon, what brings you to the mix here?
Well, really, I'm just kind of concerned, just kind of interested in, kind of, I don't know, when it comes to politics and just kind of getting things done around our area, there's a lot of people in need right now, and we really need to kind of put our differences aside and come together as humans, and really kind of come together for solutions. And really, I mean, no more bickering on either side. Everyone has their points, and it feels like if we can get together with with a good group of people with good ideas and have some strong ideas and really put our heads together, even if we have differences in politics, we can still get things done. And that's really what I'm here today for. I've known Coach Trippy Jeff for a number of years now. He's a great guy, and we believe in a lot of the same things. And just here to support him, and real interesting to listen to you as well, to kind of see what your view and your take is on certain issues, especially homeowners insurance. Because seriously, as a person who is looking to possibly buy in the future, because I'm ready to go, I'm scared. I don't want to put my money where that down on anything right now, because just the fact of either getting dropped or just and I'm also I can also get the veterans insurance as well, USAA, but they're even dropping them too. So it's I don't know. It's really concerning, because I really want to buy down here. I'm tired of renting, and I'm ready to pull that trigger and do it, but just it doesn't seem like, I don't know, that there's any solution to with
Right.
the homeowners.
So Vernon, we're going to be doing this for an hour. Are you holding onto your phone? You're
Yes.
holding.
Sorry.
I have done live, Facebook stuff.
I completely forgot that.
My-
I forgot my little stand. I don't know where it is. It's around here, but yeah.
so here and there, he's gonna be going like this, stretching his arm.
I'm
I
sorry.
have a candle that I sometimes put mine on.
I'll try to keep it steady as possible, guys.
like that. Right.
That was a good
Thank
idea right there.
So thank you, Vernon, for the questions. And I know you're Jeff. Jeff, how do you want me to call you? Coach Trippy?
Coach Trippy would be great, just because I'm considering myself a political coach, but we've known each other for so long. You can call me Jeff. Jeff's a good name too.
All right. All right. If you want me to be, you want to know what I think, I'm going to take you all through the process for which I've gone through for many years, but I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about something bigger than me. And I want this to be a conversation. So by all means, interrupt me at any time so that I'm not talking the whole time. All right. We good with that,
Okay.
Vernon?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm going to start off by asking you all questions, and we're going to go from there. What is the purpose of government? And Vernon, if you want to take it, go ahead and take it. If not, I'll give it to Coach. What is the purpose of government?
The purpose of government is to make sure that everything, basically, the legislation and everything, it basically to kind of manage the neighborhoods. I don't know. I don't know what else you can really. I mean, just make sure that everything is in checks and balances. People aren't, like really, it's a checks and balances. I think making sure that the systems are working. Having people in check. I don't really, when it comes to that's really what It's a cumulative effort, and I really adapt. I mean, that's really what I feel government. I mean, it shouldn't be so in your face.
Are you with me on that? That the opposite of government would be chaos. So there is some
Absolutely, yes.
government gives us.
Yes.
Jeff, what is the purpose of government?
So there's so many aspects of government. The purpose of government is structure. We need structure. We need police. We need firemen. We need
I'm going to
managers.
stop you there. Why do we need structure? I do agree
Well,
with police and fire, but why do we need structure as humans?
as humans, you need, communities in and of itself. Just take a small community. It needs streetlights. It needs stop signs. You can't just be chaotic in your approach. You've got to have planners. You've got to have all sorts of governing bodies to put this together. If you build a theme park, you can't just say I'm going to put it right here, and another manager says, well, we'll put the other right here. You've got to start with a plan. You've got to have managers executing the plan. You've got to have people vetting the construction companies that are going to put these things in place. So it's just structure. We need structure. We need a form of an organization. But what's happened and what's changed as far as government is our founding fathers intended the House of Representatives to be concerned citizens, myself, you, Banks, Vern, to go to Washington as representatives, bring the concerns of the local community to Washington, and then go home after 2 years and return to their farms and return to their maybe small electrical companies or return to their we've lost that. We've literally got career politicians in positions where there is no room for careers. When we say term limits, there's certain positions that term limits may not be necessary, but the House of Representatives, U.S. senators should be termed.
Okay,
President is termed.
we're going to get to specifics, but I just want to start broad of
Yeah,
why, what's the
yeah.
purpose of government. So you mentioned planning like 2 or 3 times, okay? And you mentioned our forefathers. So our forefathers came together for 4 months in Philadelphia, and to create the 13 colonies, they hammered out this thing that we call the Constitution, the preamble to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and then after the amendments. And that was the structure for our government, for our democratic republic. Okay. Vern, are we good with that? And you want me to call you?
Absolutely, 100% agree.
Okay. So
100% agree.
Vern, is it Vern or Vernon?
Vern's fine.
Vern. Perfect. Okay. Vern. All right. Jeff, is it Jeff or Jeff?
It's just Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff.
All right. So our forefathers came together to create this document, and this document is what we use today. They had planning, they had foresight, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So they have set up these rules for us, and they've given us some leadway to change this, change that, and some ways out. And the way out is or are the amendments that we've come up with. Hey, guess what? We want to have the freedom of speech. It was not in the Constitution, so we've added it. Freedom to bear arms. It was not in the Constitution, so we've added it. The freedom for due process, a woman to vote, because we didn't think back then, our forefathers didn't see didn't project that women would vote. People of color could vote. So that is some foreshadowing or some planning for what we have today. Now, if our government purpose is to create structure, as you said, Jeff, this structure, how do we want it to look? And this is where we differ with political parties, but we differ the right wants to have as less government as possible, or the left wants to have as most government as possible. And I'm just giving you an example, and those are 2 examples which are you see on the right, less government, and more government. You see on the right the same way. So
Yeah.
we have to structure this so that we can get through this next hour. How do we look at issues? Because broadly, we can disagree on stuff like, oh my gosh, you're too liberal. What does liberal mean? Oh my gosh, you're too conservative. What does conservative mean? If we look at each of the issues and we take them apart, I feel that all three of us, and even your very conservative friends who used to be on the show, will go, yeah, that we need taxes for this, or we need taxes for that. So let's look at, and Vern, you came up with one topic, and the topic was you're not sure whether or not you want to buy a home because of the insurance, and the insurance being so high. Correct?
Yes.
Here, and that is regulated primarily our by our economy, by our capitalism, and is also regulated by our government. Okay, and at the state level, they can kind of control how that works. Now, let's just take, for instance, one of them, or we'll take whatever you want. Do you want to do home property insurance cost?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, so let's look at that real quickly. The way we have it now, for about the last 5 years, the insurance, the home insurance has increased. If you owned a house, Vern, it would be like 40 or 50%. Jeff, let's start with you. How much has your insurance gone up, home insurance gone up in the last 5 years?
It's gone up dramatically. It seems dramatic every year. I don't know a percentage, but it's gone up significantly every year.
Do you know your numbers? Do you know your
I'm
numbers?
to cover interest and property tax. I'm over 700 a month. So that's about
For property insurance.
insurance and taxes.
700 a month?
Yeah,
Oh my.
about 600 a month, 650 a month.
All right, let's just round it up to 7. So 7 times 12, and I'm going to do this right now. 14. Oh my gosh, we're looking at $8,400 a year that you're paying for insurance, correct?
And then the property tax, which is actually low in Florida. Property tax is low in Florida.
All right,
so you have it all escrowed together in one lump sum. So there's a portion of that money that
so the insurance is probably 5. I would say the insurance is 5.
Yeah.
The property tax is 2.
So that's per month.
Right. So the insurance is $6,000 a year.
Okay. Which sounds kind of in the ballpark. You own a regular house, a 3-2, a 2-2, a 200 square foot house.
Right.
Yeah. So $6,000 a year. 5 years ago, do you remember what it was 5 years ago? And
it was less. It was 35, 32. It was less. It was
so
3.
It has doubled in 5 years.
Right.
Okay?
And
Which is
no slowing down of the increases in sight.
Right. Now, do you live in a flood zone area, Jeff?
No, I'm high. I'm on high ground. I'm in Claremont.
Okay. All right. So you live in Groveland though, right?
Groveland.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to pay for the flood insurance, which is good because flood insurance is pretty. It's very high. Most of it is, if you want to get it now. $6,000 a year, that has gone up roughly 50% because it used to be 3,000. It's doubled. I'm not big into percentages, but it is doubled in the last 5 years. So that would be a deterrent for Vern to buy a home because he knows that he's going to have to spend $6,000 a year. Now, I'm going to be transparent with you. I live on an 874 square foot. My house is 870 square foot. The whole complex is one building, one home, and it's about 1,400 square feet. That price, basically, insurance 5 years ago was about 1,200. It went up to 1,800, and now it's at 1,700. So 1,700 is what I'm paying for property insurance for my property, for my home, which is not much. I mean,
it's not bad.
Yeah, I don't want to complain. Now, I live in the country. I live very high. I don't need flood insurance. I don't need all the extra insurance. I have Airbnb. Airbnb has an insurance that once people come in, they kind of cover that. I can get extra liability insurance if I want to. So those options are out there. Now, what has happened is people like yourself, Vern, are not buying homes because the insurance is so high. I'm going to ask you, Vern,
Yeah,
could you afford $6,000 a year for property insurance? Is that something
I
within,
could. Yeah, yeah,
okay,
I could.
okay. You can afford it. All right. So, I mean, so
It's
buy the
just
house.
kind of
Go ahead.
like it doesn't. It's. I guess I know it's overinflated. I know it needs to be adjusted. So I don't want to jump into something that's I like to see I like to see a resolution in it. Honestly, it seems like that you deal with Citizens. There's all different companies that are bailing out of Florida, and it seems like you have only one option. I mean, I have a friend of mine who's had State Farm down here for years, and they just dropped them
Yep.
for no reason. So it's
Yep.
like
So that
they're giving
to,
you less options, and they're putting these people in dire straits because especially if they don't have the equity to go self-insure, they need something. So it's like they're making these people just walk away, and it's something that I feel the state really needs to get involved in and really put their heads together and stop it, because people are getting like just walking away from their homes. They have to because they don't have the money. They're getting. It's kind of it's a weird situation going on right now down here, and anyone who has money, any kind of viable money, I feel would be sitting on the side right now waiting for you guys to work it out to see what solution we can do, because there's a lot of inventory down here right now. I mean, there's all these builders that just built all these homes down here in Lakewood Ranch, all down in South Florida and all that stuff. Like they have no one coming in for them right now. There's like everyone's like leaving Florida at this point because
Right.
they're not coming in as fast as they used to.
Yeah. You
And
go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, but
no,
you're
so
bringing,
I really don't. I'm just kind of waiting, kind of seeing where I'm at. But and also when it comes to the flood zone, they've kind of changed the rules too, when it comes to like people who were never in flood zones are now considered flood zones because of rainfall now.
yeah.
Because it's not even like you have to be by a water source. It could just be rainfall, and they consider it. So there's different rule changes that are really affecting people,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I think Tallahassee has to get involved and do some things, get some things involved.
Yeah. Jeff, did
Uh,
you want to say something? Did you want to
I
say
was just going
something?
to say to that point that Vern just made, there is the fear factor. Then there's the fear factor of, is it just going to keep increasing? I'm literally a person settled in my home now for 23 years. I'm concerned about the future cost, the future increases. So it's not just deterring people from buying. It's also a concern for people that have owned for 23 years in my particular instance. So that's why this isn't a conservative or a liberal problem. This is
nope,
everybody's problem.
the
This is
human
the
problem in this
this
one.
is a young person's problem. Even if they haven't even picked the party yet, this is a young
Yeah.
person's problem. They may potentially get married. They haven't even
Okay.
picked the party yet.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack, but we're going to get to a solution at the end of this. This might take an hour to get there, but we're going to get there. I promise
This
you,
is a
Vern.
great topic, though.
Oh my God, it is probably the biggest topic, the most important topic in Florida because it is putting people, like you said, Vern, out of their homes. So
Yeah.
let me break it down for you. Let's talk about inventory first. Vern, in Orange County, the inventory of homes that are built that are just sitting there for people, there's more, the inventory has grown. So
Yes.
people are not going into homes, they're renting like yourself,
Yeah.
or there's a homeless issue there, and we'll get to that a little bit later. You also talk about fear, and fear is one of the big things that is going to keep people from getting into homes. And we want you, Vern, to feel like you're at home here. So we want you to buy a home here root yourself in our community, and put yourself of like, I want to be a part of the community. Like Jeff ran for office. Jeff was on water conservation. That is, you care so much that you want to do that. Now, Vern, where are you from?
Originally from Red Bank, New Jersey.
Okay, good. I mean, and it's different up there. I mean, I'm sure there's
it's an expensive real estate market up there right now.
But up there is a classic example of people getting driven out of their homes because of property tax.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So highest property taxes in the nation are up in New Jersey.
Okay. So can you give me an example of what it is up there? What was it? How long have you been here, first of all?
Going on 13 years right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was high insurance costs back 12, 13 years ago, right?
It's still like, I still have my family up there, and it's still high up there. They basically, like, they're basically paying like $10,000 a month or a year in insurance.
Right. Which is not that far from $6,000.
No, it's not. But they're definitely more than what Florida is right now. But the prices up there are astronomical. I mean, I just had my parents just sold out of their house, and they had the highest price they ever had in their life up there. So they had to sell out, and they're living in a smaller condo right now because they're older. But yeah, so did they reap the benefit of that? But it priced me out like years ago. That's why I came down here, because Florida was such a great bargain. It was great back in the day. Now it's kind of come up to the level of everything, And
we're I think 31st in living affordability.
Yeah.
In comparison to all the other states. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take it on. You mentioned citizens. We're going to get to citizens real quickly.
Yeah.
You talked about flood zones. Okay. So in Florida, most of the people that are here are on fixed incomes because of they moved to Florida with their pensions, and they only get so much security. Yeah. So the fixed incomes is counter to the insurance costs going up. So people are pricing themselves out or can't afford it. And that's why they're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Downsize, move out, move in with the in-laws or whatever.
Yeah.
So that is counter to what's going on. Let's talk about flood zones really quickly. I don't know enough about it. I do know, this is what I do know. And believe me, I'm only going to give you, I only know a little bit about a lot of stuff. If you're on the coast in Florida, so this is Florida. Yeah, this is Florida. So if you're on the coast of Florida, the flood zones are much higher. And let's talk about that real quickly. Climate is changing.
Yes.
Our world is there's more water flood zones on the area, on the coastal line area. This is happening. You can see it in Miami. Politically,
the buildings are sinking. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Take off your glasses and just look at it, and you can see it. And for whatever reason, maybe it's every 100 years this happens, or maybe we are impacting our world. And I go with the mindset of, yes, we are impacting our world. Okay,
we are.
Our carbon gases that are going in the air are caused because of us. We are finding that the world is changing. So the flood zones are also changing too. So the flood zones are on the sides. Okay, and because the coastline is basically falling down into the ocean, less and less people can live there. And if they want to live there, they want to have insurance. And if they have insurance, they're having to pay higher for the insurance because of this issue. Now, the other issue is hurricanes. We're having more and more hurricanes. However you want to look at it, is it the world's changing or is it we're causing it? It doesn't matter. It is happening right now. So with every hurricane that comes through Florida, every hurricane that comes and hits Florida, it puts an economic impact on the insurance companies. I'm going to come back to them. As you know, because the insurance companies are covering those homes. So a couple of years ago, this year, Milton came through. I don't know the billions of dollars the damage that caused. Every time a hurricane hits Florida, another one or two insurance companies leave the state.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't want to be here because they cannot afford that. And nothing against insurance companies. Insurance companies don't want to pay out. You understand that model.
They just, I know. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not poo-pooing the insurance companies. The gist of it is, we're going to cover you when a hurricane hits. We can only cover you this much. I think Citizens, and Citizens is a public insurance company from the state, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. They only gave out, I think, 50% of the time or 60% of the time, which is very low. It's terrible. That means if you're under Citizens and you get hit by Milton and you have no roof and you have $80,000 damage, Citizens half the time are going to go, no, we're not going to, we're going to
50-50 chance of getting it done or not.
Yeah. So let me point out one thing, though. Important.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Let me point out one thing.
No.
When you just talked about the hurricanes and how they're coming, right? We didn't touch on global warming because that's the macro. All we're doing is doing the micro now. We're saying, how's it affecting homeowners? How's the cost and all that? And that's what's important here, is because I think as a party, Democrats spend too much time on the big picture and the big elections. And I want to get us back focused to Banks Helfrich talking about how homeowners are going to afford their homes 5 years from now. So this is really great what we're doing here.
Okay, so you say global warming. That is a phrase that turns half the people off and half the people off.
Right.
And
it does.
And if okay, our world is heating up. Fine. I personally think it's because of us. It's not.
It is. Well, there's more people in the
muskrats.
world too.
Yeah, there's more people. It's not the muskrats and their gas or whatever. It's not the cows and the issues that the cows have. We are putting more carbon in the air. More carbon in the air is heating us up. Heating us up is causing this globe to warm up. And
100% agree.
And I don't want to harp on that.
Not at all. I want to stay focused on the individual. Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I tried alluding to, is staying focused on the individual. Let's not.
Well, we were talking about flood insurance, flood zones, and how it's changed over the years because the amount of people that are coming into Florida, they're actually, there's irrigation problems. So floods are happening inland now, and things are being, deemed flood zones when never were before. So it's kind of an interesting scenario that's unfolding. Be careful what you wish for. You get all these people coming in, and the construction areas are not, geared right. So you have flood zones in the middle of the state.
Right. Let's talk about floods real quickly. We'll come back to Citizens. I want to end with Citizens because I do have a plan that works.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Okay. So let's talk about the flood zones. In Orlando, there's a new county commissioner. Her name is Kelly Seamed. I gave to her campaign. I followed her. She's an environmentalist. I consider myself environmentalist, even though people are like, what? You're an environmentalist? I feel that everybody who lives on this earth is an environmentalist because this is our home. You got
to take care of it. You have to take care of it.
You have to take care of it. So let's talk about floods real quickly. What has happened in Orange County? And I'm going to use them as an example because I do not have any. I only have anecdotal evidence for Lake County. So Orange County, what has happened? Developers have come in and they've paved over wetlands. And think about it. What does wetlands do? Wetlands basically takes the water. Let's
displace water. You have to displace it somewhere. Yes. You have to put it somewhere.
Green swamp is basically the place where the water goes and it filters down, makes clean water, runs down the state of Florida, down into Lake Okeechobee and the Everglades. Okay. Yep. So you have these wetlands and they're there because they're part of our ecosystem and how.
Hadito.
He just I don't hear him anymore.
Hang on. Okay, hang on. I'm unmuting. What did I just do? I asked to unmute. Am I unmuted?
I can hear you. I can't hear him or see him.
Oh.
There you go.
Sorry, I messed up. I clicked the wrong thing.
Hey, do you not want me to talk about
No, I didn't mean to do that. No.
I don't have to talk about
being trippy. Thank you.
So
No, go on. I'm sorry.
developers have come in, they paved over the wetlands. So where does this water go? Well, guess where it's going? It's going into the streets, and it's going into the neighborhoods, and it's going into people's homes because, 20 years ago, we didn't have this problem. We have the problem now.
Yeah. And and I feel it's one of those issues that's really concerning to me, though. But I mean, I'm really happy that we're having this conversation, because it seems like you're in the know, you understand what's going on, and it's just like getting the word out there and just giving people some hope and some resource on where to go, maybe gather up the minds and put it all together and do what's right. I mean, the Everglades basically is like it's a natural filter system, and that filter system has been blocked because of people living there. So they diverted the water system, and it's created chaos in the middle of the state. And it's
Right.
I mean,
you see what happens in Osceola County and Orange County when we get Milton comes through or a flood comes.
Yeah.
Get a heavy rain in Miami. On high tide days, it moves into the city. So and that's flooding in a different way. That's coastal line flooding. This is in the middle of the state of Florida.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I mean, there's definitely issues. The landscape is changing, obviously.
Right. But, you talk about hope and resources, and you have to get involved. Vern, yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you been to a city council meeting in the last year?
Nope, I haven't.
Nope.
I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to start going because Jeff's gotten me involved with all this now. I mean, just the things that he talks about, and especially speaking to you today. Yes, I am fully on board. So
when I said I'm bringing you two together, I knew you two would be a great fit. So even though I can't handle Zoom the way in particular, I could judge characters, and I knew you two would be a great fit. And this is what I want to do: is I want to bring people together, not apart. You said about you were going to talk about citizens. I was talking about homeowners insurance. You've got some incredible insight on it. Citizens, I don't want you to forget to get into that, though.
Yeah. Hey, actually, I'm on question. How is the solvency of citizens? Are they going to be able to pay, or are they like I heard there's some issues there? I don't know.
You're well informed, Vern. That's great. I'm going to go one more thing. Hope and resources. Vote. Show up at council meetings. Sometimes they're boring. However, a lot of them now in Claremont and Groveland, they have fireworks there. And I'm not talking about 4th of July. I'm talking about, wow, what's going on? You're in Groveland, Vern?
No, I'm actually in Celebration.
Oh my gosh. He's not even in my county. Jeff, why am I talking to him? He's not even in my district.
He's moving this way. He's moving this way, though. He may be there before.
I will. I definitely want to go to Claremont. Yeah.
Okay, Vern. Go to Claremont. I'll introduce you to the Queen of Groveland. The Queen of Groveland knows everything about Groveland. It's a citizen like yourself who goes to all the meetings, reads up on all the meetings, is on the P&Z, which is the Planning and Development Board. This woman knows more than the council does. And hey, Jeff, nobody from Groveland's going to hear this, right, or see this? All right. Let's talk about solvency. Let's talk about solvency. So we will get to solvency. So in this state, hurricane hits, another insurance company leaves. I don't know if Allstate's still here. Allstate actually gives like 80% of the time that people ask, they get. So Allstate or Farm State or another state, some state. So how do we keep these these private insurance companies in the state? Okay, because think about it, in a capitalist society, if we have a lot of companies in one business, guess what happens to the product? It goes down in costs. Okay, so this is what I'm getting at. So when you have only 4 companies, private companies, in our state, insurance companies, they can boost the price up, and it. On us, we have to pay $6,000 a year for insurance. Now, they have to be solvent, so they have to have as much money on hand to cover all the expense of what they're doing. Now, let's look at private now for a minute. Now, private Citizens is a private state-run insurance company, and it was created because these private insurance companies were like, oh my God, we can't cover this. We can't cover these hurricanes. I think Michael came through, or a hurricane a few years back came through, and it was just like they left the state. So how do we have these two coexist in the state? And this comes to my plan. In North Carolina, you have been to North Carolina?
Yeah, I used to go to school in Greensboro.
Greensboro, what school? What,
UNCG, University of North Carolina, Greensboro.
what'd you study, Vern?
I was business administration and leisure studies, but
hey, leisure studies. I think we all did leisure studies.
Yes.
What is leisure studies? Is it anything in particular, or
it's partying.
Yeah. A lot of beer drinking, and no, I'm kidding. No, yeah, but yeah, I was there. I went there for almost 3 years and finished out in Colorado.
All right. Wonderful. So in North Carolina, they have an insurance model, a template that I feel Florida could use, and it could work in Florida. Their plan is that they have a Citizens, and now North Carolina gets hit with a hurricane about every 3 years. Not as much as Florida. We get hit pretty much every year, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times. So they have Citizens set up, and the Citizens insurance takes care of wind, which is hurricane basically, and hurricane, okay? And anybody in the state that would like to have hurricane and wind insurance goes to Citizens, okay? Then they have the private insurance companies, which means the private insurance companies don't have to cover somebody on hurricane and wind insurance. More of them come to the state because they don't have to worry about the burden is not placed on them.
So Citizens is essentially taking the risk, and you still have the other companies there
making the money.
That's a great plan.
Thank you, North Carolina and the governor and whoever put it. They've worked on it, and they're still working on it. But that brings into let's look at Florida. That brings in more insurance companies, which brings our costs down. Okay? At some point, though, it's gonna level off. So instead of $6,000 a month, Jeff, it's gonna be it's gonna level off at like $4,000. They know that they can. You give them $4,000 a year, they can cover you, they can take care of you, and everything's fine. Then you have your hurricane and wind insurance with the state. Now, you're gonna have to pay for part of that, and we're gonna talk about cost in a minute. And that way, you get insurance for everything else, liability, whatever else you want, and then the insurance, the hurricane is through Citizens.
The risk is mitigated by Citizens.
Yeah. And let me back up just a minute. In the state of Florida, you don't have to have insurance if you have your house paid off. So close to having your house paid off and you don't want insurance. And I didn't have insurance for a while. I was saving $1,700 a year. And I did it for like about 5 years. So $8,000, $9,000 that I could use however I wanted to use. So, and I know of businesses who have their own, they own their own company, and they're like, you know what? I don't want to insure it. Insure it for property damage through hurricane, flooding and whatnot. So who pays solvency? Here's your solvency question. Who pays for Citizens? Okay. This is an egg that we have to crack. So I'm gonna just ask you, Vern, who pays for Citizens?
Does the state of Florida pay for Citizens?
You're absolutely right. In North Carolina, the state of North Carolina pays for their Citizens.
Exactly.
Their public insurance.
Right.
So basically, it comes right out of tax revenue that's collected in Florida.
All right. So stay with me. I have a way to get the money.
Okay.
3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, the state of Florida had a surplus of about $9 billion. Right? $9 billion. You're going in this, right? Most of the hurricanes that come through, Jeff, I do not know the number. I don't know how much Michael or Milton costs Florida. I don't know I know it's in the billions.
I remember it was in the billions. Billions.
Yeah, it was pretty high.
Okay.
Billions, multiple billions.
Okay, so I can't speak on that. I can't speak on the amount. The point is, if we have $9 billion in our reserve fund, that is the fund that funds citizens. Okay, you ready? Now, let's go one step further. And we're gonna have to assume this, that we still have a FEMA, which is a federal agency that takes care of us when Milton comes through or any catastrophe comes through. If we still have FEMA, FEMA then has money to replenish either citizens or it has it as a supplement. And that is my plan. My plan is to have citizens do hurricane and wind. Private insurance companies takes care of everything else.
Yeah.
We have more of them, increases the amount of insurers, lowers our cost, and then you and me, you can move
And
into a
essentially,
house.
the state is
He
paying
can buy
less
a
because
house.
the state is paying less because they only have to mitigate the risk factor portion of citizens. Wow, it's a great plan. It's a good
Thank
plan.
you.
Right. And then you've got young people able to buy homes, which could be a big part of their retirement,
Jeff,
which
that's
answers
another
another
thing.
question.
Is affordability of homes for in Florida, and that's a whole nother
Yeah.
issue that
2
we have.
hours.
Yeah, no kidding. What are we
No,
at?
we're gonna get into it.
Well, we don't have time. What are
No,
we?
not today, but that's what I was gonna say. I'm segueing, but I already scheduled Jeremy Elliott, and I want to get him together with us, the three of us.
All right, all right. Who's
Yeah,
Jeremy Elliott?
that's the guy we met that with New
Oh,
Beginnings.
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Yeah.
Home. Oh my gosh, yes, yes. Jeff, tell Vern about who Jeremy is.
So
What do you know?
Jeremy is the community relations manager at New Beginnings, and New Beginnings spends a lot of time with homeless people. Now I don't know.
That's great.
I can't wait to get Jeremy on, and I just got him. I just texted him, and he's. I got a date. It's in my calendar. I can't seem to get to it. I got a date. It's a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and I want to get the three of us all together. He's on for that date. I could tell you the date actually because I'm excited about it. But so that date is February 20th.
That's a Friday, I think. Friday morning.
Friday morning, yeah.
How is Monday? How is Monday, February 24th? February 24th, 10 a.m. February 24th,
February.
10 a.m.
I'll have to look at my schedule. Vern,
Yeah, see if you can plug that in. But that's where he's touching base about homelessness, and he's a direct link to helping homeless people. And this is an important issue in Florida because I'm like we both live in Claremont, me and Banks. You drive home at 10 o'clock at night, you're seeing people under Highway 50. You walk into the Walgreens, you're seeing homeless people. You walk into the CVS and the Walgreens.
You know what?
People milling around.
You know what? I 100% agree, and it's sad. And honestly, is a lot of homelessness, but I also think there's a lot of mental illness out there.
Well, there is, but it's a
undiagnosed.
whole other conversation.
It's
But there's
sad.
also a lot of topics here. I can get into. There's also kids that time out of foster care at 18 and are just thrown to the wolves at the age of 18, and they have to find their way. And there's a lot to talk about there too. But and they're homeless, and so there's a lot of topics to cover, and we're going to cover them. But we did a great job today getting Banks on about because he's got. I would love to see him get elected to the House. There's nothing more.
Banks, I'd vote for you. You're great.
Other than
move.
You got to move now. You got to move now. But that's what I want to see. And Banks encourages everybody he talks to run for local office, just like I was encouraged when I got to the Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District.
Well, essentially, it's about getting involved.
It's about getting
that's
involved.
What I myself am pledging today. I'm going to get more involved.
Like Banks said, when was the last time you were at a city hall meeting and a city council meeting? And most people say, I didn't even know we had them. When did they start?
Honestly, I mean, year.
Most people
think I've
think
been.
Yeah. I mean, we had a big meeting out here in Claremont about where the boat dock would go, and they came to a great resolution because people were interested in that particular item.
Yeah.
Vern, every city council, I think pretty much every city council, every county commission meeting, and at the state level, you can get up and they'll give you 3 to 5 minutes to talk about anything you want to talk about. I mean, virtually anything. This month, I'm talking about trust. How do we trust each other? How do we trust our government?
Yeah.
The foundation for trust is decency, civility, and kindness. Once you have that, then you can create trust. Next month, I'm talking about government service. When people get into office, they are there to service us, the citizens.
Yes.
Month, I'm going to talk about compromise, the word everybody hates. However, our forefathers
We need it. We need it.
that in order for the country to come together. After that, and this brings me to April, I am talking about the importance of taxes. Everybody hates to pay taxes, but if we don't pay taxes, what do we not get? We talked about what is the purpose of government. We have to make sure we have that money available for roads and
You're right.
and all that. So anyway, you have a chance to speak in front of people, and you'll be surprised afterwards. You might get an applause afterwards. People might approach you and go, "Hey, I have this issue. How can I help you? Or how can you help me?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that small microscopic realm, you can be helping other people.
Exactly.
And that's what
Make a
our
big
government's
difference.
about. Our government is about working together.
Well, that's what it was always taught to me when I was younger. And then seeing it now, it's been so divided and polarized that nothing seems to get done. They just argue about each other. And it's like, it's time to like put that aside and let's put our heads together and do something that's right for the people, you
Right.
know? And really, I guess that's what it is. We worry about all these big, huge national issues. We really have to start worrying about our local community, and local is where it starts. I don't care what the guy in White House is doing. I want to know what the people in Orange or Osceola or, Lake County, it doesn't matter. I want to know what they're doing. That's
Right.
where it's important, and I feel that's my real. I mean, I'm tired of watching the news and like just getting brainwashed on either one side or the other. Yeah, just turn it off. I'm intelligent enough to make my own decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see. Just give me the facts, and I can make a nice, viable decision on the facts given to me. And that's the way I look at it now. I'm tired of being swayed by someone's opinion and this and that. And it's just refreshing to speak to someone like you who has these great solutions going, reaching basically from both sides coming together and gonna get that done. I'm all for you, man. I think it's great.
Thank you, Vern. Hey, you made a point about finding solutions. The best solutions are not red and they're not blue.
No.
They are very purple.
Yeah.
When we come together, that's how we find the solutions. And that goes to my whole speech on compromise. Anyway, do you have any questions about the whole plan to lower property insurance?
No, honestly, I really, really like your plan. I think it's a great. It kind of no. I mean, just Florida needs to implement it. I feel
we need to get it to Tallahassee. I mean, there's going to be questions. There's going to be a lot of people questions. There's going to be a lot of people concerns. There's going to be a lot of people with other solutions. But if we get your plan to Tallahassee, it's a great starting point. It's an incredible building block.
Yeah, they're working on a plan now, and our government is so slow. What are we talking about?
Well, see, that's the thing too. It'd be nice to get a little, put a little fire underneath there to get things moving. But it's like they just trudge their feet in the sand sometimes. But
we have to work together. I mean, and
exactly.
That's what it is. I mean, and it's tough for us to get together. Let me give you a quick story. Back 50 years ago, our congressmen and our senators went up to Washington and they worked there. They stayed overnight for like months at a time. Their wives were up there. They ate out with dinner. Yep. They formed relationships, and then they got work done. What happens now is our not all of them, but our Congress, our representatives go up there. They are only in their offices and in the chambers. They do the laws. They go home every weekend. No, we have to build relationships, and that's the only way we're going to get stuff done for the people. And you know what? I don't care if it's a blue or red. Let's solve the immigration issue now, because this is what I heard recently. When the Democrats are in office, the Republicans won't let them have the credit for solving this issue. Same thing on the right side.
Yeah.
waiting on them to solve the issue, like you said, engaged people can solve the issue. People that get involved can solve the issue. Waiting on lawmakers to come to conclusions on the issue, and waiting on we the involvement's the biggest thing. Immigration is a huge task, but it can be done. But what we have now is just like you said, everybody wants to take the credit for it, but there's nothing getting done.
Yeah.
And by the way, Vern, sometime we'll have a chance. I have a plan to fix immigration. So
See, that'd be amazing too. I mean, I feel, it obviously needs to be fixed. It's and it's being you got to do it in a humane fashion as well. Like how they're doing it. I don't want to get into it, but it's yeah, definitely we can come up with solutions for that too. And that's I mean, because I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of friends who are from all different parts of the world, and some of them are really worried. So it's like I kind of I understand, but if we should really have a solidified immigration policy in this country, and there hasn't been for a while. So I mean,
yeah,
it really just make it nice and make it so people can go through the process. I mean, I have friends who did the naturalized process. Just I guess don't make it so long for them to wait. If they want.
Right. Well, yeah.
Because it always they say, okay, do the process, but then it takes years. Like, hey, if they really want to do it and they really are into it, make it a speedy process.
Well, Banks touched on his plan with me the other day when we were together in downtown Claremont, and I loved it. And it addressed the idea of waiting of the forever wait.
18 months.
18 months. Addressed that.
Or we send them back.
And so we need to, like we said, we're keeping this. We need to have these conversations one at a time, just like we did insurance, and maybe recap on each one as we have the next conversation, but go into the next conversation. Like the next conversation could maybe immigration. The next conversation, like you said, could be what were you thinking about?
There needs to be a solution for the immigration. There can't be such an extreme thing. Like it has to be some,
No, he had a great idea. I know we're not going to get into it now, and I definitely want to leave it for the next conversation. I don't even want to start on it now, or
okay.
I don't know.
Well, Vern, how much time do we have? We're doing an hour, right, Jeff?
Yeah, so we got till 1:15, so 15 minutes.
All right, let's just touch upon one aspect of immigration, okay, Vern?
Okay.
And that is the birthright clause, I guess, of it.
Yeah.
And that is, if you're born here, you are a citizen. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Now, Vern, if we go back historically, even the Native Americans that came over were not from here. I mean, if you go back, I don't know, I think it's 20, 30,000 years ago. They migrated from China to Russia, the Bering Strait.
That's where, exactly.
Canada, they came here, and these were the natives that were here. The Pilgrims, when they came over, this is who we saw. So they don't even have birthright citizenship. All right. If you think about it, if you take away birthright, that means even those that were here before the Pilgrims don't have it. The Pilgrims that came over don't have it.
Yeah.
Because their children were born here. The Central and South Americans that come here and have their babies here don't have it. So if you think about it, none of us are Americans if we don't have the birthright issue.
That's true. You're right.
I mean, and that's an extreme look at it.
It is, yeah.
You take that out, and guess what? I'm not American. You're not American.
It's true. It's true. It's true. If you look at it like that, you're absolutely right.
Right.
I like it. Yeah. It's,
but what is? Are we going to get into that? Do you want to talk about
No. Let's see if. Let me look at my notes. Hey, by the way, I'm just going to tell you all the notes that I wrote for you guys.
That's awesome.
Anything that you talk about, I write down so I can figure it out. I'm just looking at it right now. Did we miss anything? You know what really pops out on this page is leisure studies. Yeah, leisure studies.
The study of leisure. Yes.
Here's something we haven't touched upon, which I wanted to talk about, and that is having resources and hope in our country, in a divided country. And And this is something that I do a lot. And that is, it's very simple. It's very easy to do. Most people want to be listened to. If you're on the right, the left, right now, I am on the left, and I hear this anger, and they're like, "We're mad, anxiety, anger," and it's run by fear.
Yeah.
What they want is they want someone to listen to them. And they want this is my personal opinion. And I don't mean to make it, I don't mean to diminish the fact, or I don't mean to make it too simple. Somebody to listen and someone to say, you know what? It's going to be okay. We got this. This is our time. Just take a deep breath. Let's go do yoga. Let's do some meditation, chill out and organize. So by listening to people, and I know I've spoken the most on this so far, so I'm not showing by example. If we listen to each other, it will bring down that anger. So you don't have to agree with them.
100% agree. Yeah. I feel listening, like the less you speak, the more you take in, is so much more. I don't know. It just, people really need that, and especially now. But
well, here's the thing: here's the reality. You have a lot to share. You've been doing this for a long time. You've been extremely dedicated to this bringing people back together, joining civility, bringing people back together, making America work together again. You're not one-sided.
Wait a minute. Did you say making America work together again?
Yeah, I use that tagline here and there.
You just coined a new phrase.
I use that tagline here. But you've been always dedicated to that. And that's why I wanted you here. That's why I wanted you to do the bulk of the talking, because I myself, if I do the bulk of the talking, it is so divisive on one side that I'm trying to change that about me. And I want to hear from people like you, because I agree with everybody who says I'm obsessed with one particular individual, and I'm obsessed with his approach, and I'm obsessed with the people that are just his sycophants. To beat that horse to death, I want to hear from people that have the idea that we can bring this back together, not push it further apart. We can bring this back together. I do believe that the bulk of bringing it back together are going to be Democrats, because we haven't been great at the game of politics. We really haven't been, but we can be better at it, and that'll be what bring the two parties together. Is if we give a little more. As far as politically, we're going to bring the two parties together. If we listen more rather than be like me and berate people who even agree with somebody, we're going to bring people together. And that's you. The
key is listen, but be vigilant. Don't sit on the sidelines.
No, we are vigilant too, and this alone makes us vigilant. But the fact that we're talking to people about jumping in and running for office makes us. We don't know.
Exactly.
I always say to my wife, the kids don't always listen, but they're always listening. And then 2 weeks later, I realized they're doing what we asked them to do when they didn't listen at the moment. Well, people are listening to us. They're not necessarily picking up the phone and going, you know what? We just listened to this guy and he's brilliant. But they are listening to us, and they may come to some more positive conclusions from this.
Well, hopefully. I mean, it was a great conversation today, guys.
Well, we still have a few more minutes. You brought up something, Jeff, about people coming together. Okay. Are either one of you familiar with 1 Million Cups?
No.
Okay. So it's an organization. It's a free organization. Every Wednesday morning between like 8 and 10 o'clock around the world. They have groups of people that are entrepreneurs, usually, that come together. You have one or two speakers, and basically this is the format. The format is you get 2 minutes to talk about yourself, 2 minutes to talk about your product, your service, and 2 minutes to talk about an issue with your product or your service. And then you open it up for 24 minutes. This is a 30-minute event segment. 24 minutes for the audience to give you suggestions on bettering or solving this problem. Okay. 1 Million Cups.
I like it.
I just heard that they have one in Eustis, and they're considering bringing one to Claremont.
Wow.
They're free. Usually you get free coffee. Cool. You get a Danish out of it or something like that. Now, I was talking to the man in charge of it. He had known that I had spoken in Eustis a couple of times. And yeah, I'd love to speak about that sometime. It's the giving model as opposed to not as opposed to, but it's a different model of capitalism than
Yeah.
capitalism is called the giving model. So the point I'm trying to make is when I was talking to him, I said, "Oh, this is a great networking event." And he said to me, Banks, "No, it's not a networking event. It's a connecting event."
Yes.
Right. Do you see the differentiation between the two? Okay,
Yes.
we're not there
Absolutely.
to learn about it. We're there to
We're not
connect.
networking to get a sale done. We're connecting to get the ideas and the solutions to, together. Yeah. It's genius. It's pretty
So,
good.
so Vern and Jeff, this is what we need to do. We need to connect, and we need to connect with those on the opposite side of the aisle as us, or the opposite side of the political spectrum. And how do we connect with them? We go to where they are.
It's true.
I just met a farmer. This guy is doing brilliant stuff. He loves Jesus. He's doing this for Jesus.
Yeah.
How do I connect with that man? I asked him, I said, "Hey, buddy, invite me to your church. I want to worship with you." That is something that is so important to him. Me
You know
being,
what? I like the way you think. It's more of getting rid of the whole red blue crap and basically going on a human level and
Right.
taking it to a
Yeah.
human level. And
Yeah.
that's what we need to do. Taking it to a human level for the first time in years. It's I feel thanks. That's an amazing, yeah, because you're basically inviting, he's inviting you into his life.
right.
And it's the
I
way
mean,
to be.
yeah, well, Vern, what is important to you, and whatever is important to you, if I show interest in it, and you know what, I care about everybody in my district.
Yeah.
Uh, and by me caring, I gotta, and I'm not faking it. I really
No, I
care
know.
about
Yeah.
these people. I want everybody to thrive. And I want, if somebody has a problem, oh, I get this homeless guy on the side of the street and it's an issue. I want to find a way to make every party come to a solution that is good for everybody.
You're
And
right.
we cannot do it if we're in this silo and we're in that silo and we're in that silo. We have to,
100% agree.
and
100%
and,
agree.
and at some point, uh, I'm gonna just jump out. At some point, Buddy is gonna look at me because we differ on women's rights. I mean, his big issue was, I don't want the government telling me what I can do with my land. I don't want the regulation. And I said, great. I'm not for regulation. Let's get rid of it if we can. And he said, "What's your view on a woman's abortion?" And I said, "I, as a representative, do not want to regulate a woman's body,
No.
as because he doesn't want to have people regulate him. Same way with a woman. So, which is different. He says, I can't vote for you then. I'm like, fine. Can I still go to church with you? Can I
Yeah.
still be a part of you? Because at some point, he might be upset with his side and go, you know what? That's it. I'm voting for Banks. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Ultimately, ultimately, I mean, I don't want to sound, ultimately, I want to be elected. And the only way I can be elected is I've got to show that I've given an olive branch. I've reached out to every single person out there, and they go, you know what? He's not in my party, but God, he will come to my farm. He will come to my ranch. He will come to my house. He will knock on my door. And when that happens, they're like, it's a person. It goes back to the human level,
Yeah.
what you're talking about, Vern.
Yeah. It's a human level. And I feel if we have more people like you getting to that way again, that's where that's the fix we need. That is the true and utter fix we need in all of politics. I feel like the human level. And you know what? I mean, this is grassroots here, man. Because it sounds like there's not many of them out there doing that. And I really appreciate you giving the whole, like giving this. It is great. I mean, the idea about it is just refreshing because it's been so sour for a number of years now and so polarized that to get things going, man. Hey, man, if I was in your district, I would vote for you 110%.
He's going to be in your district because
When you're moving, Vern, just before 2026.
Hopefully.
It'll be This was great, guys. This was really great. I want to do it again and talk about so many more topics. How many topics do we potentially talk about, potentially covering down the road? I mean, we
Yeah.
really,
a lot out there.
Yeah.
So let's do it
Well,
again.
Jeff, if we have, yeah, we have a couple minutes here. I'll go through what I have plans for. So hold on a minute. Here you go. Ready? So, I have, where are you? There you go. Solutions. It's on my website. I have a plan to lower property insurance. Okay. I have
Right.
a plan to decrease traffic congestion here in South Lake County. I have
Yes.
a plan uh, to um, to support first responders by having them educated on special needs kids and adults. Okay, it's a class for them to take so that they're aware of it when they come across them. There was a special needs kid who was in a burning house, and the firefighter came in and said, "Come on, we got to go." And he said, "No, my mom said I'm never got to leave this place, never." And the firefighter got beat up because the special needs kid was going to stay there no matter what. So this is a plan that we can implement, and it's easy. It's a 4-hour class, continuing education. I have a plan to curb excessive development. I have a plan to lower grocery costs, and that's just 5 of them on my website. So anyway,
Very,
So
very good.
that so with that said, I want to schedule each one as a separate entity on the show. Is that an
you know
option?
what? I can talk about insurance for a whole time. I don't know. Yeah, I probably
Well, we
could.
could talk about. I mean, let's just take for example lowering property
We
tax.
just talked about that one. We just talked about that
Or
one.
we could talk about decreasing traffic. We could do an hour on decreasing traffic congestion if you've got. I mean, these are important issues.
Yeah, that one I can probably say in about 3 minutes. That one's an easy one.
Exactly.
I milked you
Put
guys
some extra
along.
roads in.
Yeah, yeah. I
Connecting.
milked you guys along for this one. I was like, okay, we got an hour. I got to talk for an
So
hour.
what is your website? Why don't you go ahead and tell us all about what is your website so we can get the word out
Uh,
on.
my name is Banks Helfrich, and you can take it apart by saying bank, where you put money, shelf, where you put a book, rich, opposite of poor, and that comes out to be Banks Helfrich.
That is awesome.
My ex-wife put that together for me, and I use it all the time. That was one of the best things I got from my divorce. I can use,
That's great.
um, and that's my political website, which I talk about issues. I get people to come, donate money, be a part of the conversation, be a volunteer, get involved, that whole thing. Yeah, it's a jumping off point for people to learn about who I am. And it's there because I'm a politician, because I'm running for office, because I want the support of the people in my district. So
Excellent.
That
Well,
sounds great, Banks. We're gonna
absolutely awesome, Banks.
yeah,
thank
Great.
you, everybody. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's been
Vern,
awesome.
a pleasure. Yeah, this has been
Pleasure
great.
meeting you. Take care.
Yeah.
Hope to see you again.
Banks, always a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you downtown in Claremont again. So I
Yeah.
know whenever I'm in there, I see you at some of the places out there. So we'll
Yeah.
talk soon. Thanks, everybody. Like, subscribe, comment, share. We're gonna have Banks back. We're gonna have Vern back. Looking forward to talking again.